Jordan's Weekly Sport. VAR on Tone Radio.
Welcome to the sports news this week. And we have James and Sam with me in the studio. Sam, I'll just ask you to control these two here. As I go through the sports news, we start off the news this week that Frank Lampard, after the game against Manchester City, which me and Sam were observing last night, James, watch your feet, thank you, says he cannot understand why he is being left out of Chelsea's starting lineup and claims Andre Villas-Boas, AVB, has not explained why. And he's come out today and said, I haven't spoken to the boss, so I don't know. Simple as that. I want to play. I've been in a good run of form and now I've not been playing. He was introduced on 73 minutes before scoring the 82nd minute penalty last night. Can you remember who he came on for, Sam?
I think he came for Raul
Morales, wasn't it? Who had replaced him at the start. That was it. And he went on to score the penalty, which was won by Dan Sturridge after his shot deflected off the hand of Julian Lescott. Juan Mata has also given his support to Lampard, saying that Lampard is a legend here, a legend who keeps on providing a lot of good to the club. He is a great presence to have in the dressing room, and for me, he is a standard bearer for the entire world of football. He has the experience to remain calm even when he's not playing. What are your thoughts on that, Sam?
Well, I think he's spot on, really. I mean, because he's played like over 500 games, I think. Just amazing. And I don't know why. I just don't know why Andre Villas-Boas has been on the bench, really. I think, because you said earlier about it's something to do with stamina. He might not have enough stamina, can't last the whole match. But he says, Frank, that he's still fit as a fiddle. He's 33 years old, but he's still got it. So
yeah,
and he's proving it.
It's too true. Because obviously, as I was saying to you earlier, he may not be playing, I think, because Villas-Boas feels that he can't last the whole 90 minutes, possibly, but I don't know, maybe.
Yeah, well, Frank's proven himself, so hopefully he'll start more.
Go on to the next story now, of the day, and that is, can't decide if to sit up or stand up, sit down, stand up, the news that Lori Sanchez, saying that he's opted out of the race to be the new manager because of the criticism of Nigel Worthington after he had been replaced previously. He said he was thought to be in contention for a return, but he has insisted that he did not apply for the role. He's written a letter of apology to Nigel Worthington. It has made it inappropriate for me to apply for the job. And now the main contenders are Jim Magilton, Michael O'Neill and Ian Dowie, who's definitely not been a job for a while. He's been mimicking about on Sky, doing his little bits here and there for the Jeff Stelling on Soccer Saturday. Sanchez said that he believed Martin O'Neill, Michael O'Neill, who will step down as Shamrock Rovers manager later this week, is one of the leading candidates. He took over when Northern Ireland were 124th in the world rankings and led them to 27th.
Wow.
Just before the summer of 2007, and Nigel Worthington was unable to guide them to the World Cup after Sanchez had got them 3/4 of the way through the qualifying stage.
Wow, that's amazing.
It would have been Euro 2008, not the World Cup. Yeah. James, I'll come to James first. What are your views on Lori Sanchez? Have you seen him as a manager before, or do you think he's a good manager?
I think he's an okay manager. I mean, I am slightly out of my comfort zone at this particular point, I'll be honest. It would be a little bit like you discussing Russian politics, but I will give it a go. I think he hasn't done badly as a manager. Admittedly, not quite as well as what I've done on FIFA, where I've taken all the shot to the Premier League. So, I mean, in terms of that achievement, I do think that very few managers can compete. And at this point, I am basically asking for Martin O'Neill's job as the new boss of Sunderland. Because I think my achievement on FIFA has warranted that.
Okay, very many thanks for that. Very good contribution. And today, Sanchez has told the BBC News Channel that the contents of the live Radio Ulster interview back in September had led to a lot of unrest, where he appeared to make a very public intervention against Nigel Worthington, who he claimed was the writing was on the wall for him after he'd been sacked, after Laurie had been sacked. In further news, Wilkinson has changed the game, according to Sir Clive Woodward. This is rugby. If you know Johnny Wilkinson, Sam was a bit shocked when he saw yesterday evening that Johnny Wilkinson was retiring from Test rugby. Yeah. Just waiting for the page to load from here. It says he took it to a whole new level, says Clive Woodward. The fly half has called time on a career that spanned 14 years, 91 caps and an English record of 1,246 points. Woodward was England coach when Wilkinson's drop goal won the World Cup against Australia, of which my dad was sitting underneath the pitch for.
Underneath the pitch?
He was doing the TV.
Put me on. Your dad was underneath the pitch.
He was doing the television coverage. Yes.
Was he part of the foundations?
Well, almost. Yeah.
I mean, was he buried before or after?
He wasn't buried. No.
That's what I wanted.
He went for dinner with them.
I mean, I know they have problems filling, with stadium capacity, but I think putting people under the pitch is definitely a step too far.
Yeah.
I mean, I appreciate your dad for going for it. It's very, very brave of him. I presumably you could tell by sort of the vibrations of the foot spins exactly what point people were on the pitch or something like that.
Yeah.
Sort of like he's sort of a bit of a crush means that sort of Mike Tyndall's on top of him. That sort of idea.
Oh, yeah, that's gonna hurt.
Yeah.
An experience Sam is obviously remembering as we speak.
The way he defended, this is going back to Sir Clive Woodward, the way he defended and attacked, he was a very special player. All of us involved in that team just felt very lucky and privileged to have had him around at the time. I'd just like to say well done to him. He has done so much for not just English rugby but also world rugby on the field and especially off the field. And Woodward attributes that to the player's physical style of play and ferocious appetite at the breakdown after he's played for England for almost 4 years after the final itself. Sam, what are your thoughts on Johnny Wilkinson?
Well, yeah, he's a legend, isn't he? I mean, I don't think anyone else would have been able to have scored that last-minute drop goal against Australia in the World Cup final in 2003. He just has the calm and coolness about him. In high pressure situations, he can just deliver. It's just consistently. It's just amazing.
Yeah,
it's gonna be hard to place him.
Yeah. Moving on. There's probably room for one more story. Just realised that I've faded my thing now.
I mean, we haven't mentioned Stockport United at all, and I think that's a great loss.
Okay.
Do you want to do a story about Stockport?
Do you want to say something about Stockport?
I know nothing about Stockport.
We'll do that at the end, James.
What's happened to them?
Nothing's happened as far as I know. I just feel that they've been unfairly left out.
Yeah.
Okay. They're never on BBC Sport, are they? They're very rarely on Match of the Day. I know they're not in the Premier League, but I just think it's discrimination, and we're going to try and end that now.
Yeah.
And I think we should combine this with a general anti-racism message.
Okay, James, let's finish. The British Olympic Association, the BOA, the BAA will take its fight. This is all a new learning curve for James. The BAA will take its fight to keep a lifetime ban for drugs cheats to the Court of Arbitration for Sport. It's challenging the World Anti-Doping Agency that the ban is not compliant with its code. Sprinter Dwayne Chambers, who has served a ban, could compete at the 2012 Olympics if the BOA loses. And Lord Moynihan, or however you pronounce it, Moynihan, says it is a policy that reflects the culture and character of Team GB. The BOA and British Olympic athletes do not consider that those who have deliberately cheated should represent Great Britain at the Games. Two QCs, Lord David Panic, interesting name, and Adam Lewis will represent the BOA at Sport's highest court. In October, the association ruled that the International Olympic Committee's own doping rule in the next Olympic Games was unenforceable. That allowed Olympic 400-metre champion LeSean Merritt to overturn a ban that prevented him from competing at the Games, enabling him to defend his title. Sam, lastly, your thoughts on that, and then we'll come to James, and then we'll bring it to an end this week.
Well, I haven't really been following the athletics, but I suppose they've got to somehow stamp out drugs somehow, so guess that's the way forward.
Yeah, James, anything you want to add to that? Anything, James?
Nothing in the slightest.
Right.
No, I absolutely agree that you got to have a zero tolerance policy for drug taking in sport. And from that point of view, I think it's ridiculous that some overbearing authority can come and tell the British Association, whatever it's called, what their policies are. I also think other things should be banned in sport, like training. Yeah. I think that training is bad because when people train, they become good, and I don't train because I'm lazy. So I don't think it's a level playing field in that respect. But no, absolutely, I think that performance-enhancing drugs should be an absolute zero-tolerance policy.
Yeah. Okay. Many thanks for that, James. Excellent contribution to the sports news for this week.
Do we have time for any national news, or we
can do that later if you want, James. But now we're going to play Mariah Carey and All I Want for Christmas.
It's you, George.
And now it's playing the same jingle again.
I mean, it would be great if we could get some emails in.
We may even have an email.
Sam, would you like to read out the email address again?
Yeah, the email address is www.turnradio@live.co.uk.
Yeah.
I mean, we are very fortunate today in that we have 3 relationship experts, to all intents and purposes, in the studio.
Yeah.
So if anyone has any relationship questions, please feel free to, or especially advice. I'm not going to lie, advice would be far more useful to us than questions. So if anyone's got any relationship advice for the 3 of us,
I mean, much appreciated.
that would be much appreciated.
Okay.
Okay, we're going to stop now before one of us starts crying.
Yeah. Sam, let's pick another track to play on here. We've been talking too much. Duran Duran, Planet Earth, track 9.
That's a very good song.
Yeah.
I'll just check that's the right one. No, it is playing Mariah Carey now, so here's Mariah Carey. Enjoy. All I Want for Christmas. Thank you.
It's you, George.
I don't want a lot for Christmas.